My name is Stephane Garelli from the World Competitiveness Center here in Switzerland. And in 1919, John Maynard Keynes published a very interesting booklet called The Economic Consequences of the Peace, in which he was arguing that actually the war reparations which were imposed on Germany were a very big mistake, because actually they would push Germany into a recession, would kill private consumption, and at the end of the day would most probably trigger social turmoil. Now this is a very interesting booklet because it could be adapted to what we are witnessing today with the austerity plans in Europe, in Greece and elsewhere, and with somewhere a destruction of private consumption in most of the advanced markets. This is the reason why we have taken in the criterion of the month household consumption, because if we are entering a great stagnation, one of the subjects we have seen last time, it's probably because consumption in most of the advanced economies is very flat. Now we should keep in mind that private consumption represents 70% of the GDP in the United States of America, 65% in the United Kingdom, and about more than 50% in most of the advanced economies. And it means that if this private consumption is flat, then we have really no hope for an economic recovery. And of course it is flat, number one, because the households are saturated with products, number one. Number two, let's face it, most of these products have been bought with credit, so they still have to be paid. And number three, people are dead scared when they are reading what's happening in the press about, the world economy and certain countries going into bankruptcy, possibly. So we are in a situation where probably the households in the advanced economy are tetanized by the market and they don't want to move. On the contrary, we see that consumption is increasing enormously, very quickly in the emerging economies. For example, in China, household consumption only represents 35% of the GDP, and there is a real willingness for people to buy, and a real willingness also to go into debt. For example, we see that the credit in the emerging economy is about increasing 17 to 20% a year, which is very fast, probably disquieting, posing some risk of inflation in certain countries like Turkey, but possibly other countries like China, and that's why the government has reacted against it. On the other hand, it is true that if an economy is not capable of having its private consumption sustaining the overall growth of the economy, then we have a problem. And I think the fundamental origin of the stagnation we have now in the advanced economy is precisely the fact that simply people do not buy. Therefore, it puts us into question for the austerity plans. It's probably a very big mistake to impose in countries like Greece not only austerity plans when they have a recession of 6%, no balance of trade surplus or anything of that sort, and to ask them to repay the debt very quickly. I think we need a grace period. This is what Keynes also advocated in 1919, a grace period to help those countries put their economy back into order and go back into more normal growth and also a certain increase in private consumption. Sadly, the lesson of Keynes has been forgotten, and for the moment we are still imposing austerity plans which are probably extremely risky for the rest of the advanced economies.